Dr. Chevy Weiss, and I've been a shadchanit for 20 years. Making shidduchim today is very, very different than it used to be. Times are simply changing, and we all know that. Frankly, I'm not a big fan of some of the change that goes on in our daily lives, like technology. I don't like feeling like I'm on a leash with cell phones, and I hate these new driverless cars that they're talking about. Remember the old rotary phones? This one doesn't work, but it sits in my living room, and I keep it and remind myself every day of how much easier things used to be, especially when we make shidduchim. In the old days, there were no profiles, there were no photos to exchange, there were no websites. It was just a matter of picking up the phone and calling someone and telling them about a great guy or a great girl that you know. It was that simple. You know, people's lives were just so much less complicated in those days. So friends and neighbors and relatives, they'd all be looking out and making shidduchim and making phone calls for people they knew. But today, it's just not like that anymore. And we can't look back, we have to look forward. So how do we go about and handle some of the shidduch challenges that we have today? As a shadchanit and as a mother, I find partners in shidduchim to be a very valuable tool that I think each and every single one of us should be using. As a shadchanit, I use a site when I have a single and I can't find a match for them in my own files. I can go onto the site and it has the most easy to use search engine. I could search by age, I could search by height, I could search by gender, by hashkafa, by where the person lives, and even by characteristic traits. If they're outgoing, if they're quiet. These are all tools I could use to search. It's a free search engine and it helps me find people that otherwise I wouldn't have access to. And that's why I love it as a shadchanit. When I find a potential match, it's so simple. I have access either directly to them or to a representative, depending on what they choose. So I can reach out to their representative and say, hey, can you give me a little bit more information about this person? Tell me some more so I can see if it's a good match. Or I can contact the single directly and say, do you have more information? Do you have a more full profile than what I'm seeing here? And then I can also just forward a profile from the site directly to someone I know, even if the person I'm looking for is not on the site. It's really so simple. And I want to give you an example. Last week, I went looking on there on behalf of a 45-year-old girl, someone who had gone to Weiss and still remains single today. I found 5. What could we as parents do? First, make sure you have a good profile. You need to have 2 or 3 sentences about your son or daughter, what they're looking for, hashkafically, personality, and what they're about. Another 2 or 3 sentences about your son, your daughter's hashkafos, your son, your daughter's personality. Keep in mind that this shidduch profile is like a storefront window. You're walking down the street and something catches your eye in the window. It's a nice tie or it's a pretty dress, and you say, wow, I like that. Let me go into the store and take a closer look. Or let me go to the store and see what else there is. This looks like a pretty good store. I want to get to know it a little bit better. That's exactly what the profile is. You want to give people enough information that they're going to say, this really sounds interesting. I need to get a closer look. And by the way, when you have that shidduch profile done, always keep a copy in your purse or your pocket. You always want to keep it handy. Remember, people are so busy today with so many things going on in their own lives. They're not remembering that you have a son or daughter in shidduchim. At any opportunity, you want to remind people. Speaking of which, you have a few minutes, I can tell you about my 19-year-old daughter. In all seriousness, we'll do that later, but in all seriousness, you do want to take every opportunity. When you're waiting in line at the supermarket, you're at a wedding, you're at a bar mitzvah, you're sitting at a table with a bunch of people, or you were sitting at the doctor's office waiting for your appointment and you run into a neighbor. These are all great opportunities. But beyond that, because often that's not enough, what can you do? That's where Partners in Shidduchim comes in. If you really want to do hishtadlus for your son or for your daughter, then upload as soon as possible his or her profile to the Partners in Shidduchim website.
that means that other people who are searching for their own sons or daughters, or brothers or sisters, or shadchanim who are using the site, can find this profile and make a suggestion today. And once you upload a profile, then that gives you full access to search the site too. And you could be looking on your own for appropriate people for your son or your daughter. Now, I know we're all very, very busy. None of us have time for this. But all we're asking for is take a little bit of time at a kavua time every week, 30 minutes. Just say every Sunday at 7 o'clock, I'm going to go online and do a search or upload a new profile of someone I know. And this is critical in Lo Achshav, Ein Masai.